Good morning, everyone. Let me pull up the stream chat. Oh, I forgot the disclaimer. All right. I'm gonna get to prices in a sec. I just want to pull up the analytics or the stream chat or whatever. I need to just find the stream. Well, whatever. I forgot how I did it last time, but I'll just open it up, I guess, on a separate, page. I'll watch my own live stream. So, getting into today's price action, get rid of that purple line. We're Monday, right? And there's no news today. So immediately I know that we're not going to, my expectations won't be too high, right? On a no news Monday, it will usually just not be too good. It'll chop around a lot. Its goal is just going to be to set up for the week, really. So most of the time, we're not going to move in any particular direction, and there's nothing really to get in on and look for these big ranges that are nice and easy to capture. That's why I'm tape reading today, and we'll see the daily chart. Got above the buy side liquidity. Right now, coming into the day, I'm just neutral. I'm wanting to see, is this going to make a short-term high at the beginning of the week, and then later in the week come back up above it, or is it going to just continue off of Friday's momentum and then continue trading higher and maybe reverse later in the week during all the news? Because looking at the economic calendar, you have some pretty high impact news this week with, wait a minute, no, it was last week, July 1st. Okay. Yeah, so no scheduled reports. I think there's a couple low impact reports, obviously, but Tuesday and Wednesday, Powell's testifying. I think Wednesday there is pretty good news, actually, but this doesn't show in the 3 bars. No, so there's absolutely no good news, not even Tuesday. Yeah, so there's just Powell testifying, which is going to, I'm not really interested in trading any of those days, really. Like, if I see something work out, maybe, but Powell speaking at 10, it's like usually going to be a lunch hour kind of trading, and I will not be able to trade most likely during the lunch hour. So then Thursday we have the CPI, and then Friday PPI. And those might be interesting days. But for this Monday, I don't really expect to see anything really to work out very nicely. All right. S&P and Dow is very bullish, and then the dollar is bearish. So we seem to have good conditions to continue going higher. But let's go down to the hourly charts and sort of see what's up. Off of the big range on Friday, I don't expect. That's even more evidence that we're not really going to do anything. We're just going to consolidate. So I'm noting that we came above this high during the 9:30 open. We sweeped it and rejected it. Alright, so this is now headed back towards the midnight open. I want to see if this momentum, the order flow will be turning to bearish. Depends where we close inside this hour, but right now it does seem like we're just dumping after hitting the high. On the 15-minute chart, you have the midnight open here, and what did the London session do from midnight 6 a.m.? It really just kind of trended higher and then continued to trend into 9 a.m. And so now we're kind of cleaning up all this liquidity intraday. There's really nothing that I would look to do, because intraday after the I would look for these lows really, but after these lows I probably wouldn't really be trying to see anything else. So maybe it can just trade down some of these lows beneath the midnight open, and then 10 o'clock hour and 11 o'clock hour can chop around a little bit. This is just terrible. the the Dow Jones just wants to be up this much. I mean, that's a reoccurring theme. It's clear conditions for just choppy price action when you see these kinds of things. S&Ps. Even the S&P's up a little bit. So you don't want to trade when the Nasdaq's going lower and the other indices are going higher. You want to wait, especially when the Dow is going. Look, when the Dow is going higher, I say this all the time, but the Dow is the weaker indice. It's weaker, and it doesn't do a good job. Sometimes, if it really, really goes up for a very long time, it may start to pull the other indices in its direction. But because it's the weaker stock, it's got less impactful stocks in it, stocks that move the less. And the tech is the biggest thing, and Nasdaq is tech, and so the tech is going to be what's moving it. If the market is truly bearish, it's going to be the Nasdaq that leads, and that's going to be trading lower first, not the other way around. So I want to see this higher price action eventually stall, maybe consolidate, start trade lower, and then the Nasdaq just continue to go lower. Right now I'm watching retracement. There's a 5-minute bearish fair value gap in there, but we closed we closed my bad. Oh man. We closed very very low, like way beneath that fair value gap. So to come all the way back into it, I don't know. Seems like it's demanding a lot to do that. So I wouldn't really be expecting that all that much. So trading in this 5 minute fair value gap, I want to see how price is going to react. It's waking into it, not closing into it, which is good. If we want to move away and displace lower, I don't want to see that filled. I want to see that stay open. Alright, specifically this fair value gap here. See the other 15-minute chart, looking pretty good. As long as we keep closing lower, you can continue to expect lower 15-minute candles until we reach that midnight open. I'd expect maybe to see some retracements. Looks like we're gonna, close above that gap on the 5-minute chart. So I don't really like to see that unless he wants to leave a really big wick. I mean, this is if we want to go lower towards the midnight open. I wouldn't have wanted this to get filled. See if the Dow's still, the S&P still trading higher, and the Dow kind of stalling a little bit, but the S&P is still roaring higher. So I think the Nasdaq is starting to kind of like want to agree with them a little bit. Maybe it's gonna just come up here and revisit that high. But if I were to put myself into a position where I need to look for a trade, I would still just be waiting for lower to evidence that the order flow is indeed bearish. This thing annoys me whenever it's not anchored properly. Big candle there. Move like over 20 points in just a minute. Let's see if it's just gonna do the exact same thing back and paint it back over. Wouldn't be surprised if it does that. Just a quick sweep and then coming back lower. Again, like today, Monday, it's just gonna chop around. It's just gonna, make this main goal is to make people lose money and set up for the week because we have higher impact news at the other end of the week. Like most of the big money is staying out, so the algorithm's just going to confuse the small money basically. Consolidate. And overall, it's kind of like what we get this, today, just trending higher, So I only really see trend lower for the rest of the day. I don't expect it to expand. That's why right now I'm only framing lower prices. I just want the S&P and the Dow. The Dow is looking like it's stalling a little bit, but the S&P is still looking strong. So I just need those to stop going up, and then the Nasdaq will probably have an easier time running lower. Whenever in doubt, you always have to go look at what Tanja Trades is doing. No, she's not streaming. That was probably better. And you go look at what Tanja Trades is doing, you do the opposite. %80 win rate. So yeah, we're coming all the way back down, pinning over this candle. This only happened to run up to the buy side liquidity one more time, so it's normal to see it come all the way back down and balance this price range, right? So once we've balanced, I don't really see a need to come back into this area up here at 952. I'd like it for it to find resistance on that yellow 5-minute fair value gap. I don't know if it closed. No. Okay, so actually it closed outside of it, right? So it left this large wick and closed underneath it. So if I take out the candles, this could have left it open with the bodies, still signifying bearish prices. But you look at this huge wick, this like 20 points in 1 minute higher, have it come all the way back down in the next couple of minutes. It's not type of price action that I'd be comfortable placing live money in, because of how huge these price swings are and how instantaneous they happen. It's not like it's going to a certain area, it's just chopping up people. Plus, it's nice to have those days where you just don't do anything at all. You just don't trade at all. You get to relax a little bit. I think especially when I get a lot of wins, I tend to want to do it again, and it's on my mind for the rest of the day. So days where you're just not doing anything, you're just looking at price, it's refreshing. It allows you to just enjoy the price action without having to worry about putting on some risk. It feels like a vacation. For other people, it might just get bored, but no, not me, man. When I see these huge wicks, I don't always split them up and look at 50%, 25%, 75%, because these huge wicks, I kind of ignore them. If you look at the line chart, just take away the wicks, just look at the bodies. I kind of ignore these huge price swings when they get immediately just rebalanced. So I'm not really looking for price to hit a particular level in this wick. I'd more be interested in just studying the mitigation block here. Alright. This gap did stay open. Not trade back into it. It's good. It'll also be above the mitigation block we did. I want to see if it's going to be quick here. I want to measure, how fast this move lower is going to occur, if it's going to occur. And if it is going to occur, is it going to retrace a lot? Is it going to take a while? How would I feel if I was placing a trade from this area, or turtle soup from the highs over here, the 930 highs? How would I be feeling right now, in this trade? Let's say I got in right here. How would I feel as price is coming down? Just kind of like put myself in a state where I was in a trade. How is that a mitigation block? Isn't it an order block? So you're talking about this area here, right? That's so. I think I might have messed up on there. Yeah, no, it's an order block, not a mitigation block. Mitigation block is like the opposite of a breaker. It's when you have a high, low, lower high, lower low. So no, I meant to say the order block. This would be the breaker, and that would be the order block. Yeah, my bad there. It looks like we're gonna trade back into it, potentially. It's tough to say because it's just kind of consolidating. If I was in a trade, it'd be kind of tough to hold on to this right now, if I have to be honest. But we're starting to run. 10 o'clock hour. Maybe it's going to form a silver bullet here. So that was kind of like a time stop I was mentioning around 10 o'clock. If it didn't start to leave and really show that it wanted to leave this fair value gap open, I would have probably closed the trade if it continued to consolidate for a little bit longer. But all good now. It is nicely running lower towards the lows, back towards the midnight open. So I would probably taken profits if I was trying to trade today. Just went for 20 to 30 points. Not trying to hold for a big range, especially because we're Monday with no news. I see it immediately after we get beneath this low, I'd expect a retracement or some consolidation. But I want to see if it's going to continue running past with speed and distance through the midnight open. We should, want to displace beneath the midnight open. I just don't know if it's going to happen right away. As you can see, we're leaving these huge wicks and running back up. One thing I'm noting is the bodies stayed above these bodies. Right, so the bodies haven't taken the liquidity. So I do expect to run back down lower. I want to see it close beneath that low and then expand through to and through the midnight open. I'd like to see that. See the S&P yeah, starting to trade lower, and the Dow should be stalling. Yeah, it's just kind of consolidating. Why? Because the Nasdaq is trading lower and it's doing what it wants to do. It's not going to do what the Dow wants to do, and so the Dow still has room to move lower. My weekly outlook, sure, yeah, we'll let it just kind of consolidate a little bit, I guess, and go over the weekly outlook. I don't. I always go out over these at the end of the week. But I'll go over it. So it's really, honestly, this is a week where I don't really want to trade. Overall, I can only really trade Thursday and Friday. It'd be hard to trade on Tuesday and Wednesday because the Powell's speaking in the morning. I'd be waiting till lunch hour, and I'll probably be busy or about to be on those days. So, the weekly chart closing way higher. We had a huge expansion. There's nothing I expect to really be, a nice expansion in any certain direction on the daily chart until at least Thursday, because we need to take some time to consolidate, and it's a perfect opportunity to do that when there's no news other than Powell's speeches tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm noting gold is starting to trend, and that's for reasons in the bond market that have to do with geopolitics. But I'm just noting how gold is starting to trend, which could spark panics. It could mean that there's more volatility coming to the market. Dollar is having trouble rising higher, so I wanted to see that buy side liquidity run, but now I'm starting to consider a run back down the sell side, these relative equal lows, right? Because dollar is just having trouble continuing to rise higher. And then this is the daily chart for the dollar. This is my bonds. I have these relative equal lows on the 5-year bond and relative equal highs. And bonds are starting to show it wants to go higher, so I'm wanting to see if it's going to, once it gets to that 50%, if you measure the range from this high to that low, is it going to really expand to the buy side liquidity? That's what I'll be studying. So I'm saying it's possible we go to the buy side liquidity. I want to see how we're going to trade though in that premium, and what the order flow is going to be like. And overall, I'm uncomfortable trading and trusting a bias. I will keep focusing on the hours chart and looking for premium to discount or discount premium conditions using a 3-day IPTA range. And if you look back on the past 3 days, I'm only willing to go lower. I think maybe if today we consolidate, tomorrow we have a market shift, we could run down to the sell side liquidity on Wednesday or Thursday. This level down here. But that's the only thing I'm trying to frame right now. I guess, because there's nothing that I can go target higher. So I don't really know how high it's going to go. But we're also in a premium condition. So I'm not going to try and go higher, even though it could very well just continue going higher. So another 500 points, another 1,000 points. I'm mostly focusing on the dollar, because the dollar is, it's going to, if the dollar is going higher, yeah, sure, you can send me something on Discord. My Discord is, let me check, LP trades. It's just LP trades. I'll type it in the chat. Yeah, so if the dollar, is going lower, it's going to make it harder to sustain runs higher on the NASDAQ. So if the dollar, same thing, starts to go higher, then it's going to be lower to see sustained runs lower on the NASDAQ. Doesn't mean it won't, if the dollar continues to go lower, the NASDAQ will not go lower at all. I mean, it can still go lower, it's going to be harder for it to do so. So when we see the dollar start to rise again, which I expect it will, I don't know, it could be going still lower to that sell side liquidity, but I do expect the dollar to want to start rising again. And when it does start to rise, I would anticipate or be waiting for higher. Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah. I would be, wanting to anticipate higher, probability to see a reversal. That's all. But doesn't mean it's going to to happen at all. I mean, it could just keep going higher no matter what the dollar does. Alright, we'll come back to that fair value gap after trading down beneath that low to the minute open. So now at this point, I mean, there's nothing that I want to do at all. Like, I'm not gonna try and predict if it's gonna go that high or that low. I honestly don't know anymore. Like before, it was easy from up here to see it run lower to the midnight open, but because we bounced from the midnight open and we went all the way back up here, this is just leaving me uncomfortable to see more runs lower. It looks like the order flow is definitely bullish and we could be making a run up here, but I'm just not trying to trade on that, or I'm not trying to anticipate that at all. So I would just probably be done for the day, honestly, closing my charts. If I had tried to trade today and I hadn't taken a trade, I would just be done. Hold on, I'm being asked to go over. Oh. Okay, wait. Sisida or ODICT. I thought you meant SS as in sell side. No, I know you mean screenshot. Okay. So somebody wanted me to go over. No, why can't you paste? Alright. Somebody wanted me to go over this chart. So on the weekly, let me just draw it on the weekly chart actually. On my weekly chart it'll be easier. Is it a weekly or a daily chart? The daily chart. So he has the mitigation. It's got the breaker, deviation. He's deviating this range. Oh, darn, I hate it when it does that. Right, he's deviating that range. If you could, I'm having, because there's just so many fib levels, I'm not having trouble seeing exactly what it is you're deviating. Looks like you're deviating from up here. Let's keep going. We have the weekly imbalance that he's highlighting. This one here. Good job of highlighting the turtle soup. Alright, so okay. Alright, that's so we'll look at. So okay, he was looking at this range, premium and discount. That's his dealing range, I suppose. Range took out the buy side and sell side. As we're trading up into this dealing range, it wants to see when we're in discount. I would want to see buys. When we're in the premium, I'd be more interested in seeing sells. So Monday's candle last week opens up, trades lower beneath the short-term low, which is a turtle soup. Now, at the time that, I don't know if you looked at my weekly review, but at the time I wanted to see price trade down to this low, and the fact that it failed to trade down to that low and only, closed way above that low, and the next day closed higher, told me that we were going to be very bullish. Well, honestly, the way Tuesday London traded, I knew that we would not be going lower because we had trended lower, as you can see with the wick there. Right, so when I go down to the hourly chart and I look at Tuesday, I wake up on Tuesday morning and I see that we've trended higher, and then we've came back before that 9:30 open in beneath to make a new daily low. I'm not really. Wait a minute, this is the wrong week. That's why. Okay, here you go. Yeah, I wake up and I see it just trade lower like this. If I can highlight, so it's just trading lower all night. So then 9:30 open just expands higher, and then I'm like, okay, it's done. It's just gonna go higher. And then it did just do so the rest of the week. I'm deviating the move lower that caused that big weekly expansion. Okay, you're talking about I don't know if you're talking about this move. You must be talking about the run here. So this probably, if I got that right. Because that's the move that ran out that sell side liquidity, the daily low. Let me go back to last week. So guys, this is what I had told my friend on the 1st, July 1st. So we'll go there, and this is the chart that I sent him. I wanted to see it draw down to the sell side liquidity, and then Monday had traded down to the daily low, this sell side liquidity, the short-term low I just talked about. And I wanted to see that within the last 3 days. If it didn't happen tomorrow, I said, okay, we're going to be very, very bullish. That's what I told him. Here, if it doesn't work, that means we are very, very bullish. So Tuesday, we started drawing higher today towards an all-time high. As I'm getting up and I'm looking at this is before the 9:30 open. As I'm getting up and I'm looking at this trend lower, immediately I'm noticing order flow turn to bullish. I made a video on Notion. This isn't my template, so this is QuantView. I bought the template from them, but a lot of the stuff I added. So just search up QuantView on YouTube. They have a really nice template. It's like, I think it's only like $50. It's really not that expensive, and it's very useful because they just put you in right away with everything you need to keep track of your trades and everything that news, different, the accounts page. But if you don't want to buy the template, I show you how to do all that. Create the account, create the trading calendar, create the journal, and the only thing I guess I don't show is what I haven't tried to do is import these third-party graphs. This is by Chartbase, and this isn't my equity curve. This is just, I don't know, some random equity curve that was put in when I got the template, and it just keeps it like that. So I would have to go back to that to set that up, but other than that, all these tickers. This is another third-party app that I could probably figure out, but yeah, this is by them. So I don't show how to do all that stuff, but yeah, I show everything else with how to track your trades and your trading. But yeah, so that move, that obviously Tuesday having traded lower, it makes it harder to continue to trade lower because we were trending lower. So immediately when I got up on Tuesday and I saw it trend lower, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of liquidity higher, buy side liquidity. It's gonna be harder to go to sell side liquidity. Order flow looked bullish, and I simply just didn't do anything the rest of the week. Just because I'm not comfortable in these environments when you just look at how the week traded, right? We obviously, where is the manipulation? The manipulation only occurred on Monday, and Monday was the only day that I was comfortable trading. I missed the move higher on Tuesday. 9:30 open, ran it higher. I would have had to get in ahead of the 9:30 open. Same thing with Wednesday. So I did not trade anything else the rest of the week. And then even Thursday, 9:30 open again, runs it higher. Or is that Friday? My bad, Friday. Yeah, Thursday was a holiday. That's another reason why you should want to trade. Yeah, last week is really tough. So if you had trouble there, it's understandable. I'm telling you, last week is, if I had tried to trade last week, with like the I guess the experience that I had 2-3 months ago, I would have lost money, 100%. I only didn't trade. I was able to anticipate last week to be bad and know that this is a condition which I'm likely to lose money on. That I know that if I try and position myself the way I think it will go, I won't be comfortable, right? Which isn't according to my model, because my model wasn't in any of the days last week. So I would have had to trade outside my model trying to long, which would have been chasing price, and I wouldn't have been comfortable. I would have been more likely to close trades early, to get upset if I take a loss, and so that's a week I just didn't really trade. But I hope that I was able to kind of give you a different perspective on the daily chart, my own perspective, and maybe you can take from that. I hope I satisfied your request. If there's anything specific that you wanted me to go over, could I make a video on how I find my higher time frame narrative? I don't know how you get it spot on almost every week. It'd be very helpful for me, and hopefully you can refresh your mind while doing it. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, how I get my narrative is just, I guess it's just doing it a lot, honestly. It's not something that I think that is easily taught, because if it was easily taught, ICT would have done it. The best way, I guess, you can understand narrative and order flow. Order flow plays a big part into it. What price is doing at the moment is just journaling like I do. Keeping these charts, sometimes I'll go before 9:30 and I'll take a screenshot of what I was thinking, the levels I was watching before 9:30, and then I'll compare it afterwards, and I'll write what I was expecting. Even times where I get it wrong, which is, sometimes I'll get it wrong. I'll say that I did it wrong, but then I'll always be positive about it. I'll be like, afterwards though, I knew why I was wrong. It was this and that, and I'll talk about how at the time, if I were to go back, I now know this, and then that kind of tricks my brain for next time to do it better. A good video would be from ICT. Because if I knew how to teach exactly my narrative and the way I get my bias, I 100% would, but I don't know if I'm able so easily to teach that. I would just be teaching ICT's concepts, really, and ICT's already done that. I don't know if that's something I can just easily convey to somebody. I think the more you study, the more you look at your own charts, the more you take notes. You know, if one thing that helped me is when ICT showed charts, like when he did stuff like this, I would go in my own chart and I would copy exactly everything he did. If I was watching 2022, I would go ESU 2022, and then I would copy. I don't know if I can go back to some of my old templates. Maybe they're deleted, but I would just annotate the chart exactly the way he had it. Every day he was trading, every day he showed something, I'd annotate it, and I would look at it and take these screenshots and put it in notes, and that's what you have to do just to get a better sense of price action. You gotta just kind of study that way. Yeah, like there's no certain steps. It's just something that it's not something that it's just like a formula, like in math, right? If you're teaching math and you're teaching somebody the quadratic formula, it's easy to write down the formula and to show how you get to that formula. It's not so easily here. It has a lot to do with intuition. It has a lot to do with just psychology. I mean, you're basically predicting how people will think in the future as price trades to a certain area. You're not just predicting where price will go. You're also predicting how the market will feel, because at the end of the day, you know, the algorithm is going to go to liquidity. It's not gonna go to where the ICT concept says it'll go. Like this last week is a perfect example. I mean, I was almost certain this was a market maker sell model. It would go down to the sell side on Sunday, before Monday's trading. And after Monday's trading, I didn't feel comfortable seeing a run to sell side. But 4 months ago, I would have wanted to see that run on sell side, and I would have probably taken a loss on Tuesday, or I would have tried to trade Tuesday when I know, seeing how Tuesday traded lower, it's gonna likely to be going higher, and it's not gonna make a Judas swing higher. It's probably just gonna continue going higher. That's just intuition. I mean, it's not something that's easily taught. It's just over time, your brain kind of recognizes patterns in price, and it kind of just, gets to know that chart a little better. And that's why ICT says, focus on one asset. Don't go trade a bunch of different assets, and he does these things. He goes from, the monthly chart down to the weekly chart, just like I do the daily chart, and goes down to the 1 hour 15-minute, and annotates it this way. This video, proper learning the importance of journaling, is the most important video. Probably, I don't know, to be honest. I always say that they're all important, but one of the best videos ICT's ever made, and it's in the 2023 mentorship. But this is when I started doing this. I still have files, but the more you do this, after 6 months of doing this every week, you're gonna see a huge difference in how you can read price, and it's gonna become very fun to actually sit down and just look at price and just see exactly what you want to see happen, even if you're not actually trading on it. But let me pull up some of my old files. Yeah, I had started doing this in August, which was around the time he released this. And then I moved to Google Slides, Google Drive, and then I started doing it on Notion at the beginning of the year. But I would create presentations just like I do today. I'd have executions. I don't know if let me find a day where I actually took something. I don't think I actually updated the executions ever, because it was just I would forget screenshot and stuff. But yeah, I'd have a daily checklist, exactly the same way that I would do it today. Yeah, I mean that's, in my opinion, doing this, seeing where you get it wrong, annotating your chart carefully, taking the time to make it look nice, and not all messy. Like, okay, no offense, but Sisida, but when I look at this chart, right, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this chart, like with the deviation. I know it's on a phone, so it's harder to see, but the turtle soup is barely readable because it's super small, and inside it's red, inside that red imbalance. The weekly imbalance is hovering over that gray area. There's a lot of things about this chart that is just not clean, right? And if my brain were to try and remember that, like, I probably wouldn't do a good job of spotting it next time, right? Because it's just so messy. But if you spaced out everything, I know it's on a phone, so it's very hard to do that. But if you space out everything like on a bigger layout, and you have everything in its own place, like, I can clearly see the IOFED here, the order block up here, the order block down here, and it's not all cluttered together. And on the higher time frame, I can't see my lower time frame levels, right? And I will sometimes annotate the higher time frame levels, like the 1 hour SIBI, just to remember that that's a 1 hour SIBI, right? Well, your brain's gonna just take that into consideration. It's gonna recognize it a lot easier, the next time around, the next time you see something like this form. And I guess that's how. That was honestly not what I wanted to hear, but what I needed to hear. Very insightful. Thank you. Okay, I thought that was negative feedback for a second. I was like, oh, that's all right. But yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I didn't want to do. There's a lot of times I didn't want to do this, and most of the time I want to do this. Most of the time it's motivating to look back on these things, and just to think about, okay, a year from now, imagine I look back on all my journals, and that's kind of what kept me going to do these things. But yeah, sometimes it's tiring to remember that, hey, before I go to bed today, I need to do this. So it'll be tiring sometimes, and you might not have time for it. But if you make time for it, it is invaluable. Like, it's your whole career. It's like an album book, really, like, of family photos, basically, that you can look back on 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when you're older. I mean, these are memories that I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life, is going back and seeing, okay, how did I evolve as a trader? And that I guess is the only answer I have to you with how I'm able to have this bias, and in this analysis, and to be honest, one of the only things that kept me going in times where I gambled and lost accounts, and because I'm able to anticipate price and see where it's gonna go, that helps me keep going in times where I lose, and I do, I end up gambling or something. When I used to do that, this kind of helped me keep going. It gave me more of a purpose to just continue reviewing it. Don't run away from it. Don't quit. But yeah, just a little rant. By the way, what's happening with price? What the heck? Okay. So yeah, still staying inside a range. Nothing surprising. I mean, we're bouncing between premium and discount. This is why I said, after this run here, I would not be interested in taking anything, because it's just not going to, it's less likely to do anything. So hopefully you enjoyed that, Sisida, and I was able to help you and anyone else that watches this video too. But I'm probably gonna end the stream and go ahead and do something else with my day. So if there's anything else, let me know. But in probably around 2 minutes, I'll probably end it. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and have a good rest of your day. Oh, hold on. I want to see if it's going to run. And clear out these lows and then close. Yeah. Hey, you see the Nasdaq was failing to go higher, and then as soon as the Dow, wow, what the heck? As soon as the Dow started to stop going higher, Nasdaq resumed really going lower, or is going to resume going lower. Nasdaq's always the leader, but yeah, whatever. It's time to end the stream.